Hey, everybody. All right. If you have not any essential oils or crystals near you, I would highly recommend grabbing them. I've got a lot to share. And even for those of you in the Sacred Shift group, some of this you have heard, some of this you're going to hear more of in January. But yeah, I would highly recommend that you oil up, like with Valor or Transformation Oil, because I'm going to be sharing some information that maybe you've already heard. Maybe it's like no big deal because you've been doing so much inner development work. Maybe it's going to be shocking. um, if I say anything and it triggers something in you, that is absolutely something for you to work on. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So for those of you, actually, you all should know me because I only put this out to my email list. I did not put this on social media. So you all know me, and you probably all know that I've been an attorney in the criminal justice system for 31 years. So not only do I practice law, but I also teach and understand and study universal laws and energy and frequency. And I have been doing this since 2005. So I am going to share some information, but before we get started, because I'm going to offer something at the end, because this could go for 90 minutes. I got a lot to share, a lot, and it's really, really important. And I'm going to try to get through it as fast as I can. But I'm going to talk about this at the end and an opportunity to get into this community because I'm going to be closing the community December 31st, and I'm probably only going to open it 2 times next year. So if you want to get in it, I'm offering a special. And everything that I'm talking about tonight, we dive deeper in this community. So I launched the Sacred Shift in December of 2020. And, I had wanted to create a community of people who take action, people who are interested in understanding the energy shift. And I literally pull together everything that I am expertly trained or certified to teach. And before I launched it in December of 2020, so this was 4 years ago, we are headed into our fifth year. So after utilizing all the techniques that I talk about in the Sacred Shift, on learning how to flow with energies and not force and not fight with the energies, I was doing it during a very difficult time when my mom was dying from Alzheimer's. And I was able to tap into some pretty high potential energies. And that's when the Sacred Shift was born. And I'll tell you, all the teachings in this have also held me through the past year after unexpectedly losing my dad. So it's really everything that I'm talking about in this group and the things that I'm going to share tonight, which is just scratching the surface. It's going to help you through chaos and through challenges and difficult times. But tonight, I want to update you on the current energies because if you have ever questioned that we are in an energy shift, or you don't even know what the energy shift is or what it feels like, yeah, we're in it big time. And there is no backing out. There's no backing out at all. So I'm going to give you some helpful techniques of what you can do. I'm going to give you some crystals, give you some oils, give you some lifestyle techniques. And all of this is really important as we head into 2025 because 2025 is going to be packed with, I'm just going to call it upgrade energies. As the energies push us to let go of old beliefs, old lifestyles, old way of thinking, work on our inner wounds. It's going to change everything that we consider normal. It's going to change lifestyles. Things are going to look very different. And if you're equipped, you're going to do really great. And if you're not, it's going to be chaos and it's going to be a struggle. So please stay to the end, because I'll tell you how you can get in the group and a special code for a very rare discount to get in, and then I'll explain how I'm not going to just allow open enrollment all through 2025. There's only going to be certain opportunities to get in. So, all right, let's dive in. So we have been in an energy shift since 2011. So we are 13 years into this. And, you know, some people call it the ascension, the great awakening, the golden age. And you may have found that really everything is changing. We're questioning everything more. We don't know what's true anymore. There's a war on truth. There's a lot of instant karma, instant manifesting. There's attempts to restrict our freedom and a lot of pushing back. We're seeing some really interesting things. And in 2020, that's when the real great awakening happened, because we all know what happened in 2020. People got locked down and they got online and just started researching and scrolling because they were bored. And all of a sudden they started seeing things and learning things about our world. And so I look at everything that happens from a why now perspective. And a lot of it is because we're in an energy shift. And I'm going to explain the things that I look at that are contributing to the energy shift. But questions that I ask are, why did we have a pandemic in 2020? And why is it something that no one talks about anymore? Yet we were so divided at the time over, are you wearing a mask or not? Are you getting vaccinated or not? People were losing their careers over those two things. People were losing their lives, and yet nobody talks about it anymore. So it's like, okay, that's really interesting. Why are we so divided right now? And this is global. It's not just here in the United States, because we're seeing the collapsing of governments and longstanding institutions. Why do we have the karmic fall of leaders and influencers? Like, I can go through all the Hollywood people, the musicians, the politicians, the world leaders. I mean, it's a house of cards. Everything is collapsing. A lot of it is karma. Why are we seeing almost a reversal of energies to control women, to control certain populations? Why are these institutions and lifestyles collapsing? And, why now? And a lot of it is because people are waking up and they're looking at how things really are, and they're kind of shocked and they don't know how to deal with it. So over the years, there have been certain celestial events with planets and, energy, and with portals, with specific dates and events that happen, where light codes have come in. Light codes are energy upgrades. I'm going to be talking about how our body, our energy field, is getting an upgrade. So there are these events and these portals where these light codes or these energy upgrades come in and attempt to upgrade the entire population of planet Earth, but only a portion are really getting it. Because you can only really get a light code upgrade if you are working on your inner self, you are working on identifying and aligning with your soul purpose. And you can only do that when you get out of the hustle of busyness, when you have quiet time each day, not just when you have time on the weekend, but each day. When you are working on your inner wounds, you're working on your shadow, you're doing the work. Nobody's doing it for you. It's not going to somebody and they do it for you. You're literally doing it. And then you can receive these light codes and these upgrades. So one thing that I want to talk about that because the shift really started happening in 2011, huge awakening in 2020, but then something happened on November 6th of this year, just a month ago. And I've been talking about this in the Sacred Shift community. I've even been polling people on social media, and there was a significant energy shift that happened. Countless people, I mean, it literally is upwards of millions of people, woke up between 3 and 4 a.m. Eastern Time on November 6th. So this was literally the wee hours of the morning after our election day. Some people woke up and they just knew what was going on. They didn't even need to turn on the television. Some people woke up sick. I woke up with motion sickness. How did I get motion sickness laying in bed? I literally had to take a Dramamine, which is pretty extreme for me to have to take that. Some people woke up just not feeling normal. They were out of sorts. Things weren't right. Some woke up knowing that there was a shift. They just didn't know what it was, and they thought it was just them. Some people woke up at that time and have never returned to the habits that they had the day before. It was a foundational shift that literally shook people awake. So for everyone, not everybody experienced this because everybody's got a soul path. And at a soul level, you decided what was going to happen here on planet Earth. So if you didn't experience it, don't think that, something's wrong with you. It's just that was not part of your soul path. But for those who did experience it, it was dramatic. It kind of felt violent. I can't say I've ever experienced anything like that before. And I've been doing this work for almost 20 years. And our foundations were literally taken away from us. And some people feel like they're in a free fall. Some people are having a dark night of the soul where your foundation is gone. You're rebuilding a new life. Your eyes are open. You're questioning everything. And for the people that experience this, and if it's you, I'd love to know, please type in the chat if you were one of we call it the 4 a.m. club. There's a huge 4 a.m. club on TikTok. Okay, if you're on TikTok, just type in the search bar 4 a.m. club, bam, you're gonna find all of us. But all of our lives changed just since that day. And here were some of the shifts that happened. And I'm talking about, and I will tell you honestly, these all happened to me. These all happened to me. The biggest thing, cannot, under any circumstance, watch or listen to mainstream media. Absolute cannot. And I can tell you from that moment of that shift, I have not digested 1 second of mainstream media. And in talking with others that have gone through this, because we just thought, we all woke up basically with an election hangover. Oh no. And then we all started talking online, and it's millions of people who experience this. And we realized the programming that we were under, no matter what news you watched, it's all programming. We were all programmed. And all of a sudden, the shift, we realized, no, we're done. We're done with that. So if that's you experience that. The other thing, the people who experience this cannot handle negative, toxic, complaining people, like zero tolerance. And I'll tell you, I'm struggling with that just because of the business that I have. I help people pull out of that energy, but I have a zero tolerance policy at this point. And it's like, okay, Allie, you need to find a way to soften that. But that's part of the shift. And I'm going to explain this because timelines shifted. I'll explain what that is. You may feel uncomfortable in groups that you once were in. It could be friend group, family group. It could be a book club, an exercise club, work. You're kind of repelled. You're uncomfortable, like, ew, I can't do it anymore. It's not worth it. Some foods, things that you drink, may now make you physically sick. Like, oh man, I really used to enjoy, burritos. And it's like, oh, gross. Like, I just can't. Um, you will find yourself nesting. You're not isolating and you're not introverting. Mm-mm. Those are avoidance techniques because you don't want to deal with your emotions. Nesting is where, you know what? I'm going to make a really comfortable environment here. I'm super happy. I'm blocking out the chaos because there's literally nothing that I can do, and I am going to nest. That's happening. But also feeling lethargic, needing more sleep, like having less physical energy. And yes, we are in winter and that's normal. But what is happening is we are preserving our energy because our body and our nervous system went through an upgrade. So our body is built like a computer and we are run on programs. And our computer, here's the equivalent. Our computer just had the entire hardware system removed to where it's now just the shell of the computer and a whole new hardware system has been put in and it's being turned on. Oh, that's what I mean by an upgrade. So this energy shift from talking and really being in community with a lot of people who focus on this, it's going to be until about 2032. And then like our energy system will have fully integrated so that then, because there's always shifts, but we're going to be able to handle it. So we are basically in the human upgrade, computer upgrade phase of our life. And it's going to go on for a while. But only some people are being upgraded. And people are being upgraded at different times. And this is why we have people who see reality, and I use that in air quotes. They see reality one way. They see things happening and they have one viewpoint of it, but then there's another group that has a totally different viewpoint of it. And the divide is growing. And in the spiritual community, we call this a timeline split. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, okay? I'm not going to define it right now. I'm going to get to that. But there are many things happening all at the same time that are just coming together to create this upheaval, the change. And I'm going to go through what all of those are. But like I said, we are being upgraded as human beings. And, as humans, we've gone through evolutionary changes since the beginning of the human. And it isn't woo-woo, it's biology. So, how is this happening? So we have a lot of energies around us that are unseen, and those are upgrading us. So we are a carbon-based human. We are actually moving into a crystalline-based body, but we are right now a carbon-based body that is 70% water. Scientists have proven that you can change the structure of water with words, with music, with frequency. And we are 70% water. So everything that I'm about to discuss is frequency that is changing the water in our body. It's changing the water in our cells. It's changing the fluidity of our DNA. It's upgrading our nervous system, which is why so many people are in nervous system dysregulation. And that's become a huge thing. Getting your vagus nerve reset, nervous system regulation, it's a big thing. And when I hear people talk about that, I'm like, that's the energy shift. That's what's happening. So for those who do the inner work, the spiritual growth, the personal development, healing inner trauma, wounds, and it's a hard walk, but they do it without excuse. Like they're like, this is my job here as a human. I got a job to do, so I better hunker down and do it. The people that are doing this work are handling this shift so much better. Others who are doing nothing at self-improvement or spiritual improvement literally do not feel good in their skin. They are striking out in emotional and mental health behavioral issues. They have unusual illnesses. They literally feel like they're coming unglued from the inside out because their nervous system is fried. We all made decisions at a soul level on whether we were going to go through the shift or not go through the shift. So everybody has free will. Everybody has free will, and everybody has a soul agreement coming here, but free will can undo that, and some people are just undoing it. And the more that we can understand and work with these energies, the better we're going to feel. It's kind of like first time you went to the gym and you lifted a bunch of weights and you're like, this is great. And then you get home and 4 hours later, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't move. Like, this was painful. That's what the energy shift is like. But if you keep doing the work, you strengthen those muscles. Okay. So, we're clearing out millions of years of ancestral disharmonic energies. It's a lot of dark energy. It's being given permission to surface. When there is, we're basically witnessing the ultimate battle between good and evil right now. And what is interesting is that energy doesn't even recognize good or evil. Humans put labels on things based on how we feel about it. And how humans behave and how we are programmed with beliefs comes through as good or evil. And depending on what timeline you are on, you're going to have opinions, which is why I said a little while ago, two people can look at the same situation and have two totally different opinions because of the timeline that they are on. So we're clearing out these ancestral energies. We're clearing out a lot of ancestral rage for the oppression and control of feminine energy, as well as groups of people that have been historically suppressed. And it's interesting for me to look at things, from a distance and look at it. And it's like, wow, we really made progress in how we treat people. And now we're reverting backwards. And that's a boomerang effect that happens when we are making big shifts. Like the old energy is still clinging on as we stretch. So for those people who are stuck in old belief systems, they're unwilling to rethink how they feel or believe about something. Like they are hunkered down. And we all know those people. It's like, don't even talk to Uncle Bob. He is hunkered down in his opinion. Old energy. He's going to struggle through all of this. And so we are receiving basically this DNA energetic nervous system upgrade as the Earth evolves, and we need to evolve with it. We are literally riding on this rock in space called Earth. And the upgrades, getting back to what I was saying earlier, these upgrades come during specific celestial and planetary events like eclipses and solar flares and northern lights and retrogrades and portals like the Lion's Gate on August 8th, the November 11th, the 11/11 portal, these sort of things. And that's when the light codes come through. It's like calling your electrician to look at your circuit breaker box in your home, and he looks at it and he's like, oh, we need to upgrade. You're trying to put in some fancier Wi-Fi or maybe a generator, and I've got to upgrade your electrical system. That's what we're going through. The timeline shift and the upgrade that came in the strongest ever was on November 6th. And we're now trying to get our footing to understand what is going on. And I'm gonna give you some more detail, and I'm gonna give you some things to do. But the easiest thing is when you ground your energy, you are stable. When you are grounded to the earth, you are stable. You're not filled with anxiety or depression or fear or anger. You feel rooted and you feel strong. Simultaneously, when you raise your vibration, you are working with the new energies, these shifts, these light codes that are coming in. And you will see the chaos, but you will not be in the chaos. Just like what I said, I look at things and it's like, oh, look at that. I see it, I'm not in it because of my frequency. And I have been talking about grounding and raising vibration since 2011, and everybody thought I was crazy at the beginning. And now everybody's like, oh, you have to ground and raise your vibration. And it's like, yeah, we kind of needed to do that for a long time. All right, so what are these shifting energies that are influencing us? So once you understand that everything is made of energy, and we are highly influenced by energies because we are primarily a water-based body. So all energies, seen and unseen, impact us. So if you have trouble sleeping during a full moon, that's an energy impacting you. If you have days where you're angry or you're sad or you're agitated or you're off and you're like, I don't know why, that's energy impacting you. If your interests and things that used to bring you joy no longer bring you joy, energy has influenced you. If what you eat or drink has changed, that's energy. Who you hang out with, that's energy. You know, in your work or career or your job, or if you have a business, you may have things that once brought you joy and no longer do. I can tell you things in my business have radically changed, radically, even in the last month. Things I have been making decisions, and it's like, I'm letting this go, I'm letting this go, I'm letting this go, I'm going to do this instead. That's all energy. Because humans are energy frequency. You know, we may look at ourselves and it's like, well, you know, I'm just a bunch of broccoli and potatoes here. Some of you may be meat and potatoes. I'm a broccoli and potato girl. And you know, we feel that we're physical. We are, look at that number, 99.9999999% empty space, which is energy. And we are 0.0000001 solid matter. Energy frequency impacts other energy frequency. I'm impacting you right now. You impacted people today. Everything is impacting us. Humans and animals are very influenced by our planet, by universal energies, by all the planets out there, all the stars, all the asteroids, what the sun is doing, what the moon is doing. You know, we live on this planet and among 100 billion galaxies. There is a lot influencing us. We are a little blip that is being bombarded with so much energy, and yet we can't see it. And just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, we can't see the law of gravity, and we may not even fully understand it, but it works, right? So some people, and you may be one of these people, you feel it strongly. Other people feel nothing. They're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean a full moon keeps you awake? Oh, yeah, a full moon keeps me awake. But we're all impacted one way or another. And some people are just so numb. And they just, as they grow older, they're like, well, this is how I'm supposed to feel. No. Who fed you that program that you're supposed to feel like crap as you get older? That's a program that you were fed. So let me talk about the things that are influencing us. So I'm going to talk about the Schumann resonance, but I like to share this information to help you understand that you are not going crazy. You are not. But if you feel physically unwell, emotionally on a roller coaster, mentally off balance, and there are things that you can do to stabilize and feel better. So Schumann resonance, here's the short story. The Earth has a frequency, and it's called the Schumann resonance, and it has been measured and tracked since 1952. It is now spiking and crashing, and it impacts climate, it impacts people, it impacts animals, it is influenced by solar flares, and it is even influenced by human activity if there are enough humans all feeling the same thing. There is an organization called HeartMath, heartmath.org, that tracks this. This is their graph that I literally pulled today. They track the relationship between sun, planetary energies and how it impacts humans and animals. So the base frequency of the Earth has been 7.83 hertz, no longer. We do not have a good base frequency because, as you see on this chart, it is all over the place. But we are no longer a 7.83 hertz Earth. It has dramatically risen. It's really been spiking since January 2017. We have longer spikes. We have higher spikes since March of 2019. The highest spike ever recorded was on December 6th of 2019. This was right before the pandemic. And it was 158 hertz. So the base frequency is 7.83, 158. That's like sticking your finger in a socket. You're going to get fried. So these huge spikes and crashes, most people can't handle because they're not grounded and they are not able to flow with the energy. They don't have the capacity to raise their frequency. And so it's frying their nervous system, it's frying their emotional system, their physical body can't keep up, and we are sicker now as a society than we ever have been. And why is that with all the advancements? I can even track mass violence to Schumann resonance spikes. I do it after the fact. This is not predictive. This is reflecting backward. And I can look at spikes and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, so we had a spike and a mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Okay? Because people struggle with these spikes. So I want you to think of this as the Earth being a snow globe and it's being shaken. That's what's happening on this planet. And remember, we are water, so we're shaking. We are shaking, so we feel it. So this is going on. And by the way, this is a graph for the whole year. That's what we have been dealing with all year. So we are consistently a heck of a lot higher than 7.83 hertz. All right. Oh, and this was just the past few days. The spikes were getting so extreme that the sensors went offline. So they're not even tracking right now. That black means the sensors, there's 6 of them on the planet, they're not tracking. And that can happen, of course, when there's just a malfunction, but it can also happen when the spikes are so extreme, they just can't measure. They can't measure. So that's what's happening. And the white that you see at the top, those are the spikes. That's the extreme. The blue and the green is all calm and good. The white and the red, ooh, that's big stuff happening, okay? All right, solar flare activity also influences us. So we go through 11-year solar cycles where at the beginning of the cycle, it's called solar minimum, where the sun is very quiet. Halfway through, it's solar maximum. And then at the end, it's quiet again. So we are currently in what's called solar cycle 25. It started December 2019, and it ends in 2030. Next year, we are in maximum. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing it right now. This is why we had those beautiful northern lights. I don't know if you remember in May, everybody's like, oh my gosh, look at the northern lights. And even, I want to say in October, we had some. The northern lights, the aurora borealis, happens from coronal mass ejections, which is the biggest solar flare that you can get. And those are called X-class solar flares. This is just, okay, so for 2024, I went in today and pulled the top 50 solar flares. A solar flare is plasma energy, bam, going toward Earth. So it can bubble up a lot of anger and it can fry the nervous system. And the top 50 of the year were all X-class, which is coronal mass ejections. They're the biggest ones that you can have. Okay, the biggest one that we had of the year, October 3rd. Whoops. You see here, October 3rd. That was the biggest one that we had. So because it's highly reactive plasma, it can bubble up agitation, anger, violence. It can coincide with protests and mass violence. And so we've been in it this year. We're going to be in it next year until it starts tapering off. In 2019 and 2020, when we were at the beginning of our solar cycle, there were no X-class coronal mass ejections, zero. We have over 50. I could only pull the top 50. We could have 200 X-class coronal mass ejections. I don't know. I could only pull the top 50, and they were all X-class. And it's like, oh my gosh. So this is influencing us. We also are influenced by other planets. Now, other planets influence our energies because remember, everything is energy. Every movement is energy. And physics tells us that every action, every movement creates a reaction. That's physics. Some people say that, looking at planets and astrology is nonsense, but I have spent years, over 40 years studying astrology. I'm not an astrologist, but I study astrology, and I can tell you just enough to get you started on your own research. But I've spent years, decades tracking planetary movements, and I can relate what astrology says to what is happening and what has happened in the past. I don't like predictive astrology. I like looking at it and then going back in time and saying, yep, look at that. It happened. So when a planet is retrograde, it looks like it's going backward in the sky. It's really not. But from our viewpoint, it looks like it is. And so retrograde means that we have a second opportunity to review, to reassess something. We're given another opportunity to look at something. And every planet has its own energy to it. And based on whatever sign it's in, whatever zodiac sign is going to influence it. So 2024 has been packed with big, big astrological lessons, upheaval, chaos, transformation, a lot of death and rebirth, setting boundaries, pushing us to work on ourselves, dark energies being exposed, kind of the unveiling where people are seeing things and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening and I had no idea. And also old energies collapsing. And so we talk about this a lot in the Sacred Shift. So I'm just very briefly going to go through this, and I want to tie it to some things that have been happening. So we are currently in Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and it's all about deep introspection, a reality check, and unveiling so that you can see what's been covered up. Oh my gosh. All I can say is, what hasn't been covered up? What hasn't been covered up? Let me just give you a couple. The P. Diddy arrest. All right, talk about an unveiling of pretty horrific criminal behavior. The release of Project 2025, the unveiling of that. Okay, all right, because that was never meant to go public. The unveiling of the Supreme Court biases and being paid by lobbyists and basically being bought and paid for. As an attorney, that's a no-no. Unveiling corporate greed. What just happened with the United Healthcare CEO being shot? All of a sudden, we are now in a class war. I mean, it was like, bam, a match thrown in the gasoline. Class war. That's what we're in. The 99.9% versus the 0.1%. And that's we are in that right now. And I'll tell you, the healthcare system is going to collapse because of this. It may take years, but it's going to happen. This is all Neptune retrograde that is happening, and I could go on. I could literally list dozens and dozens of things. Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer and asks us to do the inner work on our wounds and not try to get rid of them, but to embrace them, that they make us who we are. So, oh my gosh, there's just so much inner wounding playing out in the collective. I could talk for probably 28 days about it. So much inner wounding being shown by people. Uranus retrograding in Taurus. This is all about things are being shaken up. It's revolution. It's about innovation and change and shifting dimensions. You know, we're shifting from a third dimensional world to a fifth dimensional world. And things that once had meaning are irrelevant so that they can make way for new in your life. After chaos comes beauty, right? So again, we're seeing this with the class wars that we're seeing right now. People are uprising, and we are just at the beginning. It literally just the explosion just happened on this, and we're going to see this for a while. But we see systems collapsing, political systems are collapsing across the world, and the U.S. is basically in the dominoes because the dominoes are falling. Mainstream media absolutely collapsing on itself like a dying star. Absolutely. Whether it is MSNBC, CNN, or Fox News, those are kind of the big three. They're all collapsing because they're not news, they're opinion. They're opinion news. And people noticed it and said, we're done. And their numbers are crashing. So this is all Uranus retrograde. They're collapsing. Healthcare is starting its collapse. And I will tell you, right on the precipice, unless something happens, the law is going to collapse. And I'm not saying that there is nothing to be scared of, because collapses need to happen because it's an old energy and it is not serving anybody. It allows something new, better to come in its place, okay? None of this you should be afraid of at all, okay? All right, Jupiter retrograding. This is going to bring rapid developments, pushing us out of our comfort zone, helping us figure out what is real and what is fake. And I will tell you, almost everything that I saw on social media during the election was fake. It was created by an enemy nation, and it was artificial intelligence. And it has long since been proven. And people voted based on what they saw. So we're basically getting our butts handed to us right now. And hopefully by the time we get out of this, we will really know what's real and what's fake. What's interesting with the rapid developments, we're seeing this with all the testimony happening on UFOs, all these drones showing up in the sky. They're trying to figure out what's going on. We're getting information that has been known for decades, and now it's going public. Okay, that's a Jupiter in retrograde. We right now are in Mercury retrograde. That happens 3 to 4 times a year, only for about 3 weeks. And it highlights communication and travel. So it's an opportunity to have a conversation that you keep putting off. It allows you to revisit, reassess, review. But truths are being exposed all the time. And what's funny, I don't watch the news, but yet I'm picking up this stuff just with one independent journalist that I find that is, he's kind of like Walter Cronkite, Dan Rather, just the facts, there's no opinion. And I literally listen to 60 seconds a day from him, and it's like, dang, look at what's happening. So anyway, truths are being exposed. We just entered Mars retrograde in Leo, and this is all about major soul alignment. So if you are out of alignment with what your soul put you here for, you're going to get a shakeup. You're going to get a shakeup because Mars doesn't have time to mess around. Mars is pretty aggressive. And so Mars is going to say, you know what? Major soul alignment. You're going to feel like you're showing up in your life with new armor, because that's Mars, it's all about war. But we're also going to see tempers flare because ego identities are getting demolished right now. Because you can either live from a soul-based identity or an ego identity, and ego identities are getting demolished. So watch what happens. It's going to be really interesting what happens. And then And then Mars switches its retrograde and goes into the sign of Cancer, which is really going to highlight home and family and self-care and what is important. What is important? Okay. So planetary transits, I want to talk about these because this is 2025, is going to see this, and we really haven't seen this in a while. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major transits happen. This is not retrograde at all. So these are what we call the outer planets, except for I'll talk about the north and the south nodes. The outer planets. The outer planets move very slowly. So when they go into a new sign, it is a big deal. Big deal. Big deal. Okay. So let me start with Pluto. Pluto moved into Aquarius just last month on November 19th. It's going to stay there until 2044. 2044. That's like 19 years away. It's going to stay in Aquarius. All right. So we were in Capricorn from 2008 to 2023. And what Pluto did when it was in Capricorn, it showed us the dark side of the patriarchy. It showed us the dark side of control of political leaders, business leaders, and institutions. It showed us the dark side of corporate greed. It was all about old controlled power trying to stay alive as it was being dismantled. So we're still seeing some of that energy trying to survive. It's not going to survive. I'll tell you that right now. It's not. It's just not. So going into Aquarius, it's a new era, it's a new you, it's rapid innovation because Aquarius is very airy and progressive. Okay? Aquarius doesn't mess around. The last time Pluto was in this place in the sky, in Aquarius, was 248 years ago. We were in the American and the French Revolution. Okay? Do not fear this. Do not fear this, okay? We've been in a revolution. We just haven't necessarily done it on a traditional battlefield. We are seeing this revolution as grassroots civilian movement to bust up the structures that suppress human beings. It's happening right now. We're in it. We're in it, okay? And what I'm seeing in the news, just even in the last week, Georgia, not the state, but part of Russia, they had an uprising. The Romanian election was nullified because of foreign interference. The United Healthcare shooting, the fall of Assad and Syria, finding 150,000 civilians imprisoned underground in Syria, the French government collapsing. All of that is because of Pluto. I mean, I can track it to Pluto. Because all of what was happening in those countries, no, we're not okay with all that greed and basically evil conduct. You're done. I mean, when the whole thing in Syria with Assad falling just a couple days ago, I'm like, holy crap. Pluto moves fast. We've got almost 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius. We are a month in. We're not even a month in. We're not even a month in, and this is what it's already done. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So stay tuned. There's going to be really rapid innovation and basically not putting up with this crap anymore. Okay. Another big thing that's happening in 2025 is what's called the North and South Nodes move. Now, what is that? So they move about every 18 months, and these are not planets. They are calculated points in the sky. And at the time of your birth, wherever your north and south nodes are, they're like an axis, That sets the energetic direction for your life. Now you have free will and you can totally blow it to pieces, but you basically have an influence. They are polar opposites on the astrology scale. So the north and the south, polar opposites. Your north node is your direction in this life. It is your direction, your evolution, and your guiding star for how you live. It's going to go into Aries, which is all fiery and determined. I like that. I think that's awesome. Our south node is where you are coming from with your karmic energies, past energies, so that you can learn the lesson and release them. It's going to be in Virgo come January 11th. And Virgo is very earthy and analytical. So you're going to be looking at, oh, these are my karmic lessons. Isn't that interesting? Okay, I think I'm going to look on that, work on that. Virgo's very analytical. Virgo doesn't get emotional. So you're going to go through some things. Now, here's the thing. You got to find out, was at the time of your birth, were your nodes in Aries and Virgo? Because if they were, you're really getting the lessons. So 3 years ago, the nodes were in my, what was it? Scorpio, Taurus, I can't even remember. And oh my gosh, the lessons were strong. We all get the lessons from the nodes, but if these are your nodes, Aries and Virgo, you can just run a birth chart for free online. You can find out. Then, okay, this is going to be powerful for you. Okay. So, so for those of you in the Sacred Shift, I'm going to dive deeper into that in our January meetup. All right. Also in 2025, again, big outer planets that move slow are moving zodiac signs. Neptune is going to go into Aries at the end of March. It moves every 14 years. So it's going to now spend 14 years in Aries. Aries is fiery and determined. Okay. Saturn is going into fiery and determined Aries. Saturn moves every 2.5 years. If you're in your birth chart, your astrological birth chart, if your Saturn is in Aries, you're going to experience what's called a Saturn return. I'm currently in my Saturn return. Oh, it's kicking my butt. But it all comes out good on the other end. These are not fun times to have a Saturn return. We get up to 3 returns in our entire lifetime. Saturn, because it moves slowly through the zodiac, by the time it comes back to where it was when you were born, you're looking at late 20s, like 28, 29-ish. And that's when Saturn basically says, you need to grow up. You need to grow up. Get out of mom's basement, get a job, do whatever you need to do. Okay? We get pushed. Then by the time it comes all the way back around again, we're in our like 57, 58 age. And that's when we have our foundations shifted. Basically, are we on the right life path? Some people get knocked off of their path. And then the last time it comes back around, if you're alive, is in your 80s. And that's when you're looking at your legacy that you're leaving behind. So it has been in Pisces since March of 2023. It's going to move into Aries, but then it's going to retrograde back for like 2 months in the fall of 2025. It's going to come back into Pisces. So I'm a Saturn Pisces. So I'm in my Saturn return right now. So even though I'm going to feel good when it leaves, it's going to come back. So anyway, so find where Saturn is in your birth chart. And there is a book. Oh my gosh, I totally just drew a blank on her name, called Saturn Return. And it's a gal that I know. She's an astrologer in New York City, and she wrote a book on what Saturn Return did to her. And it was chaos, but at the end, it was all good. So, and then Jupiter is going to go into Cancer in June of 2029, 2025, and it moves every year into a new sign, so it's not going to stay for that long. Uranus moves every 7 years, and it's going to go into Gemini and stay there for 7 years in July of 2025. So we've got some slow moving or big planets. This is big energy. Plus, we're going to be in heightened solar activity, which is going to influence the Schumann resonance. So I'll tell you, 2025, be flexible and be fluid. Now I want to get to the timelines that I mentioned before. So our planet has literally been living under one timeline for, oh my gosh, hundreds of thousands of years. And I don't exactly know when the timeline split started, but it absolutely began in 2020. For sure, no one questions that. It could have happened earlier, but for sure with the whole pandemic thing. A timeline is the path that you walk in this lifetime and what you experience. Your timeline is your frequency. Okay, let me explain. So we have multiple timelines on this planet right now, and it looks just like a book, like what I have on the screen. And each page is a timeline. People can hop timelines. Timelines can merge together like two pieces of paper in a book coming together. Timelines can split like two pages coming apart. Timelines can collapse, they can merge. And it's why humans are so disconnected and so divided right now. You know, if you had friends, family, or hobbies in the past that brought you joy and they no longer bring you joy, you've had a timeline split from them. So here's how you know what your timeline is. If you, like, your overall feeling throughout the day is fear, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You know, are they going to do X, Y, and Z? Are they going to take my health care? Are they going to do this? You know, oh my gosh, you know, our grocery price is going to keep going up. Am I going to be able to afford this and that? If you are living in fear, worry, anger, that's your timeline. And you will see everything that creates fear, anger, and worry. Because our world is simply a reflection of what is in us. This is why if you're not doing the inner work, nobody can do it for you. You have to do it. If you don't do the inner work, then you're on a timeline that you're just going to see all this chaos because you got chaos going on in you. But if you are on a timeline where you can raise your frequency, you can detach, you can look at it and say, huh, isn't that interesting? I wonder why that's happening. Let me do a little research. Let me do a little digging. What's going on astrologically? What's the Schumann resonance? And you look at it, like even when challenges happen, you can look at it through a healing lens, like, hey, I want to get to the root of this. Like, why am I reacting like this? It's something in me that's bubbling up. Let me look at it rather than point the finger like you triggered me. No. Nobody triggers anybody. Okay? It's something in us that is bubbling up. So if you're working on your inner self, you're working on your shadow side, which is the part of you that you've hidden and it keeps bubbling up at the most inopportune time. If you're working on healing your wounds, if you are grounding, if you're raising your frequency, if you can go through, and it's never 100% perfection, but your primary frequency is gratitude, kindness, compassion, love, finding beauty among the rubble, then your world is going to show up as things where you feel grateful and you see love and you see beauty and you see compassion and you see kindness. So you can figure out your timeline based on what you see right now. Okay? Your inner world is your timeline. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing your timeline play out. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Okay, what do you do? All right, let's get to what do you do? All right. Number one, you really, 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 really need to be open and willing to reassess everything in your life, everything that you've learned, everything that you've been taught, basically your programming. And be very self-aware of how you're changing, but it requires you to slow down. If you're moving 100 miles an hour because you're always so busy, if that language is in your vocabulary, I'm asking you right now to please retire that. Being so busy is not a badge of honor. It actually it actually pushes people away from you. It does. You have to slow down in order to be self-aware of everything that's going on. So when I say be willing to reassess everything that you have learned and how you've been programmed, let me just tell you of some of the things that have programmed us, because we literally are a computer and we have to have programs. We're like an Excel sheet. Okay? In order to run it on the computer, you got to have the Excel program, right? Otherwise, that document, it doesn't operate. We are being shown point blank, right in front of our face, all of our programming. And this is what has programmed us. And these are all the beliefs that all of us are being asked to look at critically and decide, do I really want to believe this? Am I willing to let this go? Here's where our programming has come in. Through political structures, banking and finance, the media. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, please step away from the program opinion-based news. They decide what you should know and they give you opinions based on what you should believe. They don't give you the news. Long gone is the Walter Cronkite of the world, okay? So the media programs us. Hollywood, through movies and televisions, program us. Western medicine is harming the masses. And we're going to see an uprising here. The education system, man-made religion, not your personal source, God, creator, that's yours, but the man-made religions, programming, and the law. I come from the law. I can see the programming. I can see it in all of these. So here's the thing. When you know this, you can literally look at it and say, let me give you an example. Everybody is talking Chicken Little, sky is falling. Oh my gosh, prices are going to continue to go up on everything. I really need to cut back spending. No, you don't. No, you don't. Unless you truly believe that everything is going to become so astronomically, outrageously expensive that you're going to become homeless. If you believe that, then that's going to be your reality. That's going to be your timeline. I literally practice this technique, and I've been doing it for years. And as soon as I stopped buying into the media saying, oh my gosh, we're going into a recession. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I don't buy into it. It's like, okay, that's your reality. That's not my reality. It's not my reality. It's just not. And I'm just saying that this is where our thoughts and our energy literally creates our timeline. If you buy into it, okay, then that's your reality. But if you don't, if you're like, you can say all of this, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to play that game. And that's what all of those 8 pillars are doing. They're creating a game and they want us to play. They want us to play Monopoly. I ain't playing. I'm taking my little token and I'm going home. I'm not going to play the game. And so it literally has no impact. That is such an important lesson. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, what's the next thing? Do not drop into fear or worry or anger or any low vibrations, because that'll be your timeline. That'll be your reality. And here's the thing, you need to stay away from those who are in fear, worry, and anger. because those low vibrational emotions are what these energies feed on, and they grow stronger. So all of this chaos that is out there, it feeds on you being worried about money, you being worried about the housing market, you being worried about, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to buy a car without a tariff on it? Oh, who frickin' cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They want us to play the game. Take your toys and go away. Start nesting at home. Literally start nesting. When you take your energy off of that, you are no longer in fear, worry, or anger, and they no longer have gas fueling their car. It brings them to a halt. Okay? That is a big thing. That is a big thing. Next thing, be grounded. Earthing, be in nature. You know, we really have to stay connected to the Earth's rising frequency, and the Earth is very healing. It's going to help with healing and releasing triggered emotions and calming anxiety. So that's a big one. Work on nervous system regulation, and the easiest thing to do is deep breathing and use your essential oils. Work on your emotional wounds, your shadow. Do shadow work. There's some really great books out there. We're starting to do shadow work in the Sacred Shift. And you know, your emotional wounds, when you know what they are based on how you're triggered, you can work on them. So whatever triggers you right now is what needs to be healed. Okay? Recognize it, work on healing it. Also work on your intuition. This comes from literally detoxing your entire energy field so that you are clear to see, okay? Intuitively see. You know, so if you're eating junk food and processed food, your intuition's going to stay quiet. When you cleanse and detox body, mind, and spirit, work with your oils, work with your crystals, you know, get moving, don't be, you know, immobile, then your intuition starts to activate. And you need to trust those whispers, those messages, and those ideas that come into your mind, because it's going to help you with discerning truth. Discerning truth only happens when you quiet your mind through meditation, quiet time, prayer. If you are getting truth from somebody else, like everything that I'm telling you right now, you can go out and research. I always encourage that. Please go research it. But if you are getting your truth from the news, I can tell you right now, it is 100% not true. It's not. That was part of the November 6th energy shift, was to get us away from other people telling us what's true. When you can discern your own truth because your intuition is waking up, you're just going to know. You're just going to know, and then you can go out and confirm it. Be mindful of the words and the actions that you're taking. So your beliefs and your thoughts create your words. Okay? Your thoughts and beliefs literally come out through your words. The words that you use create feelings that you have. Good feelings, bad feelings. Those feelings result in action or inaction. Okay? This is what I coach people on. If you have not learned how to genuinely shift your thoughts, your words, and your actions to be more positive and more empowering, now is the time, because the energies are very fast manifesting, like almost instant. So it's about shifting from lack energy to empowered energy. The lack energy is getting sucked into the news, and it's like, oh my gosh, all of our prices are going to go up, and what are we going to do? And no, mm-mm. Tune it out. Tune it out. It is literally programming you to be afraid and stay in this energy. Okay. So start working on empowerment, because, and How you know whether you're in a positive or negative frequency is the words coming out of your mouth. Okay? Negative words of lack will keep you in a low vibration and you will be in the energy of all the chaos. That'll be your timeline. Okay? Another thing to do is to set healthy boundaries and avoid places and people and situations that are negative or toxic and drain your energy. It is okay to quietly step away. You don't have to make a big announcement like, I don't like you anymore. You're not my friend. No, 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 no. Nobody needs to make an announcement leaving the room. Okay? Because that puts out a hurtful energy. You can just quietly drift away because remember, the timelines are like pages in a book and they're splitting. And as you shift, your pages are separating. And if you keep forcing yourself back onto another page, that creates more chaos for you. So it's okay to quietly just drift away from those settings. It is. It's okay. It's okay to do it. Because they're doing it too and they don't even know it. Another thing is keep your frequency high. This helps you shine your light, okay? So genuinely finding things to be positive about, to be grateful about, shining your light in the world, sharing the good things that are happening or things that help people. It could be a lesson. I've been sharing my grief journey on social media, and yeah, grief is really sad, but I'm sharing not just, woe is me, I'm in grief. I'm sharing, this is what I'm doing. Like this is what I'm doing to help other people. That's shining your light. And keeping your frequency high is really important. So grounded and high frequency at the same time. And then, oh my gosh, keep the energy clear in your home. Okay? Nest. Create a nest. Okay? Crystals and oils for everybody. Even frequency music, all sorts of good things that you can do. All right. So this is one of my favorite sayings. Speak and pray to the solution, not the problem. A lot of people are just talking about the problem and they're just stuck in a loop. They're stuck in a loop. And it's like, no, 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 no. Speak and pray to the solution, not the problem. Again, be mindful of the words coming out of your mouth. If you feel stuck right now, or if you are in chaos, you're in the old energy, you're in one of the old timelines. Manifesting is so strong right now. Karma is almost instant right now. If you are focused on the problems in the world, if you are focused on the problems in your life, you will give them energy. You are putting gasoline in that car. Okay? And you're going to draw in more of it because you're literally living that timeline because that's what's in you. But if you focus on the good things that are happening, you're solution-based, you're looking forward, you're optimistic, you're going to raise your vibe. That's speaking to the solution, not the problem. Because we can't solve a problem with the same old dark energy that created it. Shining a light is how you banish the dark. All right, let's talk oils and crystals. Okay, you can literally find 1,000 different crystals and hundreds of different oils. My philosophy is to work with what you have and the ones that you are drawn to. I'm going to give you a couple of recommendations, but I could give you hundreds of recommendations. Work with what you're drawn to, and that's going to help you. Now, here's the thing. Smelling oils and holding crystals doesn't do the inner work for you. It is a partner in doing this inner work so that you are on the timeline that you want to be. Doing the inner work is you deciding and saying, I'm going to do this. No more excuses. Every day, I'm going to do something. There's loads of journals out there that you can buy that walk you through shadow work and walk you through transformation. I mean, there's loads of stuff. Or The Sacred Shift. I literally give a workbook every month of things to work on. So the oils and the crystals support you in it and help at a frequency level. But at the end of the day, only you can do the work with your decision. You can't just hold a crystal and smell an oil and think, oh my gosh, I healed my inner child. No. You have to do the work. You have to make the decision, and you have to climb that mountain. You got to climb that mountain, okay? So here we go. All right, let's talk about essential oils to transform your energy. So the things that I just talked about that you can do, let's match the oils and the crystals to everything that I just talked about. All right? Transform your energy by releasing the programming and releasing negative emotions, neroli. It is known as an ancient oil of transformation. Okay? It helps you feel present. It helps you let go of the past. It helps you not worry about the future. If you're emotionally intense, this is your oil. If you're emotionally sensitive, this is your oil. And then the transformation blend from Young Living. So I'm going to try to give like a single oil and then a blend, and all the blends are from Young Living. So the transformation oil is one of my favorites. This cleans out old emotions, old programming, old beliefs, and all the blocks. It is transformation. I would highly recommend every day in 2025, start now, but every day in 2025, topically apply transformation. Just wear it as perfume and smell it every day. Just once a day. That's all you need to do. You will get through 2025 doing really well. All right, you need to stay grounded. Black spruce, deeply grounded. Oil, very protective, or the Sacred Mountain blend. Helps get you grounded, helps you when you feel overwhelmed. It's protective when there's chaos around you, because remember, if there's chaos around you, that is chaos in you that's reflecting out. Okay? Sacred Mountain, no chaos, no overwhelm. It's protective, it's grounding. For healing emotional wounds, rose is a very, very deep heart healer. It is worth every penny to get. And even if you just smell it from the bottle and never take one drop out of it, that's all you need to do is smell it. It is deep heart healing. It's forgiveness, because that's most of the wounds, is lack of forgiveness. Okay? Now, an alternative is Palmarosa. Oh, Palmarosa. No, nobody talks about Palmarosa. It is a fantastic oil. It connects your heart to the earth. It's very nurturing, like a mother energy, and it stops the heart from shutting down during chaos. I also like the release blend. I mean, the release says it all. You need to release some sacred rage. Okay, use the release oil. You need to release unforgiveness. You need to release the chaos that's in you. Use that oil. Okay. For getting into intuition, developing your intuition or having meditation and quiet time, Sacred Frank. It's a higher frequency than the regular frankincense, because it's higher in alpha pinene. And it is a great oil for connecting your soul and spirit with your existence right now. It just moves chi energy. It's basically the equivalent of clear quartz. And it deepens your breath so that you can exhale stagnant energy, old energy, exhale the chaos. And then the Awaken oil, this helps you with meditation and visualizing and manifesting and awakening the empowerment rather than speaking and acting from victimization and lack. And I'll tell you, this is a major lesson that people are going to learn this year, is that the words coming out of your mouth are like placing an order on Amazon. It's going to show up on your doorstep the next day. That's how fast manifesting is happening. And I think for a lot of people, they're going to need to manifest something bad to prove to them, holy crap, Allie was not joking. Monitor your thoughts that show up in your words and create the feelings that result in the actions. That's how you need to think about it. Thoughts, words, feelings, actions, or inaction. This is going to help you with that. The Awaken oil is going to help you with that, okay? Discerning Truth, Roman chamomile. Inner calmness, inner stillness in your mind. You can hear. You can literally hear truth, because intuition is literally your connection to your higher self. It's the part of your soul that is still at source level, that knows the answer to everything. You literally know the answer to everything. You got to quiet your mind. You got to stop being so flippin' busy. People that are so busy, it's like, I was one of them, and then I stopped. And it's like, I'm still getting stuff done. I'm just not moving at warp speed. Slow down. That's what Roman chamomile does. So you can hear the voice, you can hear the truth. And then the Gary's Light Blend was specifically blended to help us with discernment of truth. Discernment of truth connects with intuition. All right, for manifesting, making sure your words, your thoughts, your words, and your actions are all like empowered. Cinnamon. Okay, that's the manifesting oil. Or the abundance blend. This shifts your frequency to abundance, empowerment, rather than lack, rather than focusing on everything that's going wrong and everything to be afraid of. And oh my gosh, this is happening. And oh my gosh, did you hear that? That's just all gossip, low energy. Abundance shifts you to see, holy moly, things are good, because I'm not tapping into that crap. I'm on a totally different timeline here, and life is good. And then all of a sudden, everything around you, you're like, wow, look at that. It really is true. Okay. For setting boundaries, valor. It's the oil of courage to help you say no. Okay. Practice with me. No. No is my favorite word. It has been my whole life. I have a healthy relationship with no. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to join that. No, I'm sorry, I can't go. No, that doesn't work for me. No, no. There's nothing wrong with saying no. It's better than being vague or being all weird and still hanging out with people when you're like, no, I don't want to hang out with you. It's okay. It's okay to say no. Valor gets you to say no and to set boundaries with confidence. Okay? It's your life. You get to live it. And then White Angelica or Sacred Angel, which just came out for like a month and it's out of stock again. And it's only been out 4 times in the 12 years I've been in Young Living. So it's a very, very limited release. It's not coming back anytime soon. But if you have Sacred Angel or White Angelica, this is protective. It's going to help you with boundaries. And then for high frequency and shining your light, Joy, filled with floral oils, very high frequency, because the frequency of joy comes from a healed inner world and a healed heart and radiates warmth. And people love that. People are drawn to that. That's very high frequency. And then the Rise Above blend helps you rise above the chaos, gives you an elevated point of view to look at things differently, to think about things differently, basically unveil what has been covered up so that you can look and say, oh, that's what's happening. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do something different. Gives you a higher frequency. All right, now for crystals, let's go through the same thing. To transform your energy, release the programs and the negative emotions, clear quartz, and particularly the higher frequency like Himalayan quartz, Lemurian quartz, Tibetan quartz, those more high vibrational quartz. And also euphorolite. So I'm literally wait, where is it? I'm sitting on it. Ow. Wait. I've been sitting on one of my euphorolites. Euphorolite is gorgeous from the Black Hills of South Dakota. It's very hard to find, but I am one of the handful of dealers that sells it. But yeah, euphorolite, it's crystal of transformation. It's a crystal of increase, of empowerment, and helps you shift away from negativity to positivity. It's powerful, and it's euphoric. All right, staying grounded. Black tourmaline It's very grounding because it's aluminum and iron base. That's very, very grounding. And euphorite, surprisingly, is also um, very grounding, very protective, brings self-confidence. People who have good self-confidence and good self-worth, they're grounded. People who don't have good self-worth and good self-esteem, they're not grounded. So they just ground, connect to the earth. The earth has your back. Healing emotional wounds, I like Danburite. I like Danburite. That's one of my big go-tos. It can be, if you have pink Danburite, that's even better. It's a powerful heart healer. And it works on like ancestral and karmic healing of old wounds. And I also like Prehnite because it's a very nurturing, heart healing crystal of just unconditional love towards self, towards others. It releases the inner lack. Prehnite is awesome. Now, for intuition and discerning truth, because these really go together. You can discern truth if you everybody has intuition. It's, do you listen to it? Do you trust it? Okay. So I like apophyllite. It's known as the stone of truth. It shows truth. It helps you with intuition and introspection. So I love apophyllite. Cannot get enough of it. I love it. And azurite, also very, very good for clarity and intuition, because it gets rid of the blocks, which is usually ego driven. The little ego voice that talks you out of, well, that's not true. I don't know where that crazy idea came from. Well, it wasn't crazy. It was your intuition communicating with your higher self saying, why don't you try this? Intuition is always encouraging. Ego says, stop that. Don't do that. You can't do that. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough XYZ. Intuition never stops you. Intuition says, go for it. All right, let's talk about manifesting your words and your actions, getting them aligned with empowerment. Green aventurine is the abundance energy crystal. I know everybody is still talking about citrine. Citrine is good for getting self-esteem and self-confidence, because if you don't have those two things, you can't manifest a darn thing that you want. You're going to manifest stuff that you don't want. But for actually manifesting green aventurine, very optimistic, very positive, new abundance energy. And then stellar beam calcite, also known as dogtooth calcite. Quantum healing, very high vibrational, to clear the blocks at the energy level to you manifesting what you want. Most people manifest what they don't want. That's the timeline, because it's literally in you. And so you're turning your radio frequency based on what's in you, and the frequency shows in your reality, your world. That's what a timeline is. So a lot of people, everybody manifests all the time, but they manifest what they don't want. Those two crystals will help you get what you do want. For setting boundaries, fluorite is great because it protects you from outside energy and helps you to let go of energy that is not yours. Let it go. And Numite. Oh my gosh, I'm also sitting on Numite. I love Numite. I only really find small tumbled pieces of that. I have some of that in my store right now. It absolutely is protective from all energies. And I've even taken my EMF detector and tested it. It is phenomenal. I mean, absolutely one of the most protective crystals out there. I love Numite. And then for raising your frequency and shining your light, Herkimer diamonds and selenite. Herkimer diamonds help you shine your light, especially during stress and chaos. Okay? All the light workers really need to be carrying a Herkimer diamond on them all the time. And then selenite is just pure white light. It is pure spiritual energy. Rapidly will help you release the negative emotions, the inner chaos, so that your timeline shifts, so that you can get into higher frequency. But it's also very calming, very peaceful. It's fantastic. All right. Now, for those of you who are here, I know this is going long, but we're almost done. I want you to close your eyes. All right? Please close your eyes. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and I want you to Make note of how many you say yes to. There's going to be a total of 10. How many do you say yes to? You are feeling stuck in some or all areas of life. You are lost on your life path, your soul path, and you're questioning, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? You felt the shift last month on November 6th, and you've been very confused because you've changed and you didn't understand. You're feeling ungrounded, unclear, uncertain of what to do, full of anxiety for the future. You feel physically unwell, imbalanced, depleted, drained, lethargic. You've been feeling emotionally triggered, overwhelmed, fearful, angry, depressed, unmotivated. You felt the nudge to change, to grow, to go within, to look, but you don't know where to start. You are or want to be an intention-driven person so that you can pursue what you want in this life. You're ready to learn more about how the unseen energies impact you. You want to connect with a like-minded group of people and have a safe space so that you can learn and thrive. All right, in the chat, how many of these did you answer yes to? All right. Yep. 6, 8, 9, 5. Yeah. Yep. All right. Let me tell you about the sacred shift that I've talked about. Everything that I just talked about, we talk about in the sacred shift. We talk about seasonal energies flowing because we're about ready to go into winter. We're going to have our winter solstice ceremony next week. So you learn about seasonal energies, monthly energies. You get an energy forecast for the month. We talk planetary energies, astrology, Schumann resonance, solar flares, numerology. We talk about movement and exercise that flows with the seasons, cleanses for your body that flow with the seasons. Don't try to lose weight on November 1st or on January 1st. Doomed to fail. That's not when you set weight loss goals. Okay? We talk about this. I share about seasonal foods. We eat according to the seasons because it naturally detoxes your body. I give you recipes. We talk about chakras and oils and crystals, and you get guided meditations and affirmations, and everything is wrapped up in one course so that you're not out there looking for everything and wasting your time. It's literally a buffet for your soul. Take what you need, come back for more. And I need to run the numbers, but something like 80% of the members are founding members. They're going into their 5th year. They keep staying in the group because the energies continue to change. And so the information changes. But we meet up twice monthly online. We do equinox and solstice ceremonies. There's a lot of free bonuses and discounted events. And starting January 1st, I'm going to only have enrollment in the group 2 or 3 times a year. It's been open enrollment for 4 years. I'm going to limit that. So come midnight, December 31st, enrollment in this group closes until, I don't know, I got to look astrologically of when I'm going to reopen it. But it's open right now. And these are some of the topics that we talk about. Each month has a sacred lesson. And you get access to a lot of bonuses. It's basically $6,000 worth of information for not even remotely close to that. And we're a community. We're a safe community to share and to learn from each other. So I have a monthly membership, but the annual membership I'm doing a 20% off until the end of the year. December 31st at midnight, that expires. That is a rare discount. And the coupon code is literally 20 off with no space in between, 20 off. And it takes the membership down to under $40 a month. For 2 meetups, and one meetup is 2 hours long and the other one is about an hour long. And you get a workbook that you can print off, lots of information. But here's the thing. I created this for everybody, but this is not for everybody. This is not a group to come in and just learn. This is a doing group. This is a doing. The information I share is useless if you don't do the work. This is the inner work to do to determine your timeline that you're on. So, and once you lock in a rate, should you wish to renew, you renew at that locked in rate, even when there's price increases. So like the founders locked in at a very low rate and they just keep renewing at that rate. So if you're interested, it is there for you. Okay. So going forward, if you're like, well, I'm not ready for that, you know I have other stuff coming up. So I have my visioning for 2025. This is my goal setting and goal achieving system that I have been working with for 15 years. If you're in the Sacred Shift, it's free. But otherwise, it's a small fee. It's going to be like a 3.5-hour online class, and it's recorded. So if you can't make the live event, that's going to be December 28th online. I also have 2 angel classes coming up to learn how to connect with angels, because I'll tell you, angelic messages, you want to learn how to grow your intuition, start working with angels. Oh my word. Oh my word. I mean, just unbelievable. And then if you want to learn more about crystals, if you already haven't gone through all my classes, those are my classes. And the in-person classes, this is assuming I'm still in Lansing. I could be elsewhere, but of course I will keep the website updated. So you will find me at Lake Michigan more often than not. So I'm going to stop the recording, and if you have any questions, I'm going to unmute the line. But for those of you who are watching the recording, thank you for getting this far. And for those of you here live, thank you for being here. All right, let me stop the recording.